I'm Sam Wood, brought to you by UPC Showdown. Wade Graham joins me today, mate.
Sammy,
Thanks for
how are
coming
you,
by.
mate? No, it's good. It's good to be. It's obviously been a few months in the making. So busy schedule for the middle half of that footy season. So we're into the home stretch now, into the finals, but a bit more time to myself and a bit more time to enjoy some other passions of my life.
We're talking about it on the way in. You're a big golf fan.
Massive golf fan.
I said, you're getting out 1 or 2 days a week? And you're like, maybe more.
Well, mate, you got to realise I'm semi-retired now. I know I'm retired from rugby league, but I'm sort of taking this year as a bit of a gap year, if you will. I do the radio stuff for Triple M.
Yep.
Help cover the footy, cut off footy shows and help co-commentate the footy. But it's just allowed me to keep my schedule flexible. So when it fits in, I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old at home, so I don't always get to fit it in the way I want. But when it does get to fit in, I get out there as much as I can. And twice, 3 times a week. I'm a tragic, but I've always enjoyed golf since I was a young bloke. It sort of got put on hold throughout my footy career. But now that I do have the free time and my shoulders are a little bit less sore week to week.
They're not running up. They're just able to swing, nice and free.
No, it's good. So I get out there as much as I can.
How are you hitting them at the moment?
I was hitting it good, but then I went down to Mollymook for a Varden event down there on the hilltop.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know whether it was the how tough the course was, or
the hill. Maybe
I had a few too many beers the night before, but I didn't swing good the next day, and I need to get back out there actually and wash that performance out and hopefully rediscover some form.
Well, look, I'll read out the resume because it is very impressive. 297 NRL Premiership games, Cronulla captain, Premiership player in 2016. You represented Australia and New South Wales. As I mentioned, it's a phenomenal roll call. Is there one? It's hard to say one game, or is there a moment or a period that when you look back on and you reflect on your career that really stands out?
Well, it's hard to go past 2016 and that run into the premiership. I think when you start off playing footy and sort of you're just playing it with your mates for fun, and then you get to a certain level and you go, oh, hang on a minute, like I can play this game a little bit, and there could be a career path if I dedicate myself and work hard on my craft, and then you strive to be an NRL player. Then you get one game, you get a season, and you start looking to, well, what do I want to achieve out of my career? And the ultimate is a premiership with your club, with the guys you work with from November 1, most pre-seasons. That's the ultimate in my eyes.
Yeah.
So when we got to a position at Cronulla where we had a team and we're playing well, we got to the top of the table, we was looking around the dressing room and went, well, we got a serious chance here if we put it together.
Yeah.
That run we went on at the back end of the year, I think we ended up winning 15 games in a row, had a draw on the 16th against Gold Coast Titans where in your neighbourhood these days. And then just sort of the anticipation heading into the semi-finals, knowing that we had a good team, knowing that if we put it together, we'd have a shot. And then obviously going all the way and getting the win against Melbourne. I couldn't top that in terms of looking back and reflecting my career. And, the icing on the cake was to be a part of the first ever team that did it, Cronulla. For so long, their fans had, suffered through the years without lifting the ultimate prize. And, to be a part of that team that did it for the first time, that's going to be hard to beat in my life ever.
So that's actually awesome insight. So what, you got to a point in the season you thought, okay, we're probably gelling better than we maybe thought. You look around and you think, actually, we've got a real run at this.
Yeah, no. So for me, look back. It started in 2015. We started the season pretty poorly, but then we found some form throughout the year. We had a serious team. We had some pretty experienced guys. We had like Gowser, Luke Lewis, Michael Ennis, Chris Hyington, who was coming on close to 300 games. Jimmy Maloney was there. Benny Barber just come down. Chatty Townsend was experienced. Val Holmes was kicking off his career. Jack Bird was kicking off his career. Yeah. And so we were a balanced team, and we were a serious team. And by the end of that 2015 year, we played South in the semi-finals, who come off 2014. Now the premiership winners in 2014. We knocked them off. And then we went up to North Queensland pretty confident. And we got smoked in that semi. It's one of the worst defeats in a semi-final ever that Cronulla Sharks have been a part of. But then the Cowboys go on and win that competition in 2015. And I remember watching the grand final and looking and go, well, I know that on that night we weren't We didn't really give a good account of ourselves, but we knew we had had the team in the tank that if we could give a good account of ourselves, we'd be up for it. So we roll around 2016, a little bit of extra motivation from not finishing the year before how we would have liked. And then, we just kicked off into the season. Again, it was a rocky start.
Yeah.
I think we lost maybe 3 out of our first 4, but then we hit our groove and all of a sudden you blink and, there's 15 on the trot. And just at the start of when you ever go on a run of wins like that, a streak, every game sort of hard fought. We won a couple of games in Golden Point, maybe by a point at the end of the match. But then you start getting to 10, 11, 12, and you're just in your groove. You're just in that state where everyone's turning up and doing their job. And not that it's ever easy NRL footy, but because it was easy to prepare for because you knew you didn't have to worry about any other guy in the team. You just had to worry about your own job.
Do their job. And,
so you just had to get your own job done. And, halfway through that year, that's when we, you can always think, but then we started to know. We started to really believe, and we knew that, if we put it together at the right time of the year, we could get something special done. And thankfully we did.
2016, now I don't like talking about the Blues, especially New South Wales win. But did you debut Game 3 that year?
Yeah, I did. I was meant to debut in Game 2.
Yeah.
But I got suspended for my debut because we played the Cowboys, that team, at Shark Park one night, and it was a Monday night, and it was back in the day where the team got selected on the Monday night halftime at the Matty Johns show.
Yes, that's right.
Monday
I remember
night,
that.
I got selected. So I was playing. I got picked in the team. Come out. I wish I'd have known this at half time. Come out in the second half. Come out of the line. Hit JT high with a high tackle.
Yeah.
And then get told at the end of the year. At the end of the game, you picked to make your debut, and then I wake up in the morning and I got hit with a grade 1 careless high tackle, and I'd had loading, so I was going to miss a week.
Yeah.
Laurie Daly was pretty cool. He still brought me into camp. He gave me an opportunity to go and fight it. We were going to fight an uphill battle anyway to try and get off a grade 1. And unfortunately for me, I missed that first game for suspension. But I was lucky enough to debut in game 3. It was Gal's last Origin. So obviously, a guy who had a massive influence on me throughout my career. So a bit of, I don't know. It was a bit of good synergy there. It was my first game, his last game, and it was the famous victory when I think Michael Jennings scored right on the bell, and the Aaron Woods clip that went viral comes over where he's celebrating. That was the one. It was a great game to debut in. Obviously, it was a dead rubber for us. Yeah. So it was one of those ones where you might hear the people say, "Oh, it's a dead rubber." It doesn't mean anything, but it certainly meant a lot to me that game to realise another childhood dream, to go out there, my family in the crowd, and to get to win. It was a special moment in my career as well.
That's great. Okay, so you're a racing fan. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a racing fan. How did you get into racing?
Yeah, I do. I do love my horses. I enjoy, obviously I enjoy the punting part of it as well, but I like following along the horses, and particularly when you see the good ones go along and have success. Like they're pretty incredible animals, and I like the whole build up of the day. I like getting out to the track and watching them. But I think for me, it started probably like most young Australians around the Melbourne Cup, right?
Yeah.
I remember being a young bloke, and even my sisters when we were young, the Melbourne Cup day would run around, and then mum or dad mostly would go get the paper and he'd do the old, the old spread out, spread out of all the horses, and he'd let us pick a horse, and he'd go down the road and have $5 on it for us, and that's probably where it started for me. And I remember, it seems like a long time ago now, but the race that stops the nation. So my primary school didn't finish school until 3:20.
Yeah.
So the race is always 3:05 or something like that. And they'd actually stop the school and put it across the loudspeaker.
Maybe that's from out west, mate. Because my school's the same.
Yeah, they stopped the school and put it on the loudspeaker. And I suppose one of my earliest memories was my old man back in the winter. His nickname growing up was Jezza.
Yeah.
And Jezebel won it in, I think, maybe 97 or 98. And I was at school and I knew my dad had backed Jezebel. And that's probably one of my earliest memories. And, yeah, it sort of progressed. I got a bit older and understood, and I love following it, like the whole spring carnival now. The Cox Plate, and well, again, my birthday is the 25th of October, so it's always sandwiched
in the middle,
between Cox Plate or Derby Day. So it's fantastic, and we all know how good that time of year is for racing, the end of the spring carnival, and so I've always enjoyed it. And again, I like the punting side of it, but I like following along the horses, and like they're incredible athletes. Like if just going down, I remember the first time I went to the races, and you see them on TV, but then you get up alongside the track and you hear the noise of them when they're coming down the straight. It's sort of
that's
incredible.
Thunder,
it gives you a bit of some goosebumps and just understand how powerful and fast those things are moving out there on the track.
You got a favourite horse you look back on that kind of might have got you into it, or?
Oh, not as such. Like obviously those early days, Mackay Diva winning, the 3 Melbourne Cups in a row, and then Black Caviar's. Like I was a teenager when Black Caviar started winning, and then went on that magical run when she was undefeated. So that she was special. But probably a personal favourite was when I was a little bit older and I started punting with my own money, and Red Zell winning the first couple of Everest. Yeah. So I followed him along for a while.
That's a special horse.
And got lucky with him the first those first 2 Everest. One I was on the track. The second year I was on the track.
Yeah.
And probably unsure whether he was going to win it that year. He didn't have as good as a lead up as the year before. Like the first year, he was just a moral, wasn't he? He was always going to win that. He used to just get out in front and nothing. He just run him into the ground. But that second year, he didn't have such a good lead up into it. But he got to the front again. It was just you just knew you were going to always be a chance with him, right? Because he liked to get out there and lead. And he just was like, I'm going to just make it hard on everything else.
Tough. Tough horse.
Yeah, hard on everything else. They want to come beat me, they're going to have to catch me and get past me because he didn't have much quid in him. So he was a good horse to follow.
Rose Hill, your early memories?
Yeah. Well, again.
Then over to Ridges?
Definitely. And again, that birthday being so late in the year, plenty of opportunity to get out there for a celebration. It was always a combined sort of birthday with me and my mates and have the party there, so my dad and all his mates would come along, and we just have a day at the races, and plenty of good memories out there at Rose Hill.
If there was a racing bucket list for you to go and to any race anywhere in the world, what would be kind of top of that list for you?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tough one.
It is.
I've never been to Singapore to the races. I'd love to get over there for Singapore.
Yeah.
But I've been lucky enough to be to plenty of the races. I've been to the Everest a couple of times, been down to the Melbourne Cup, been to Derby Day, been to the Cox Plate, which is fantastic, like for Australian races. So I'd love to get overseas, and Singapore would certainly be on the list. But the Kentucky Derby would be pretty cool, like that whole build-up. It's such a different sort of atmosphere to our racing as well. So probably a bucket list would get over there. But mate, I'm only really a greenhorn in my travels. Now that footy's finished, I get an opportunity to really look
where they are
around the world and to
moving.
see. But if I could pick 2 straight away, like top of my head, I'd love to go to Singapore and spend some time there. But Kentucky Derby, get over there.
I'd like to do the Kentucky Derby too. But I got a mate that worked over in Singapore for a long time, and he said the racing over there, the way they do it, it's elite.
Well, I think everything's over in Singapore.
Outstanding. It's high end, isn't it?
Trying to get through the airport with like 2 young kids is sort of like, just close your eyes and follow me.
They got like a water park and everything at the airport, so you got to really put the blinkers on for the kids.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You've been to most of the big race days here. What's your, let's say you're a young bloke listening to this and you're thinking, okay, me and my mates want to save up, or I've got a punters club or a footy trip or something like that. What do you reckon? What's the top for the ones here?
For me, Derby Day's the best.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love Derby Day.
That's a bit of a traditional answer, though.
Yeah, no, I do, but just because you like to see the cream of the top, cream of the crop, right? And again, we just talk about how good it is for me to win a grand final, and that's sort of like the championship of the races. That spring carnival, you get all the best horses.
Oh yeah,
we've got down there, and there's always a couple of horses that probably are going to do the job because they're the best of the best. But like everything on the big day, you just never know when another horse is going to be the better horse on the day and cause the ball over. But it's hard to go past. Like if you love actually the racing and following along the horses and keeping on, like yourself, it's always Derby Days is where
it's grand final for so many horses.
Final,
but look, I think it's perfect answer. But there's so much going on Derby Day as well. So
Yeah,
even if you drag the missus along and she's not interested, there's plenty to look at. There's plenty to do.
So the time we've gone down the Derby Day,
Yeah.
it's been with our punters club. So it's everyone who's keen punters.
the best.
They want to sit there and actually punt. And yeah, we can have a beer and we can worry about going to the casino after. But like we're there, it's like sort of the end of the punters club trip. Like let's try and make some money and like
we head down.
Convert everything. So no, that's it for me. But again, like now that I've got a bit more time on my hand, if some schedule frees up in my golf life,
of course,
I'll be heading to the races a bit more.
Tough going for you, isn't it? Okay, so let me the bucket list question. Let me frame it again, but for sport. What's the top of your? Firstly, what have you done that's kind of would be at the top of most people's bucket list that you've done in the sporting events around the world? Tick many off?
I haven't ticked off many, to be honest. Because
you're only 6 months into retirement, aren't you? Or first year out.
Like, well, the NRL in Vegas, that's on everyone's bucket list now, I'd say. I got to do that.
Did you went over?
Yeah, I was there last year. Yeah, like magic. You talk about events, like that's if you're ever going to go to an event or you want to go to an event, Vegas is a city built for events. And I was sort of neither here nor there with where their plan was for the opener in Vegas. But then when I was last minute, I got onto the trip late to work over there and call some of the footy for Triple M. It was fantastic. And just you couldn't help but get excited by the Street, the season launch, the stadium, just it was incredible. And I would recommend anyone who, I know it's a lot of money, you got to save up and the opportunity doesn't always come by, but even if your team is not there that year and the opportunity comes, get over there because it's a celebration of footy and it's such an event and you will not regret it. It's so much fun. But in terms of sports I would like to go to in bucket list, like the Super Bowl stands out for one. Being a golf tragic, the Open, I'd rather go to the Open than Augusta if I had to pick one. Because I'd love to sit up in one of those Scottish castles or those old Scottish towns where they're 1,000 years old and you can sit there and you get out to the course at 6 a.m. in the morning. The sun doesn't go down until 10 p.m. Like that's sort of, I'd love to do that. But then, of course, Augusta, go to the Masters. That would probably be the top three for me, like just thinking off the top of my head. Maybe throw some tennis in there somewhere. But, yeah, probably the golf and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good bucket lists.
Yeah.
Top of the list, yeah. The old man just got back from the Open, actually.
Yeah, well.
He said it was unbelievable.
I was watching the Open, and don't worry, I entered the ballot for next year.
So, did you?
If anyone's listening out there,
and you
can read the ballot, I'm your man.
I think I'm in the ballot. My kids are in the ballot. I think you put everyone in there just in case. So obviously we're here for UPC Showdown. Fantastic product, fantastic app. You and I were having a coffee before the show, both said about how, we're actually massive fans of this product. What kind of drew you to the UPC Showdown?
Well, I think for me, I knew Steve who introduced it to me, mutual friends. He's bounced around for a while and he introduced me to the product and straight away where you obviously looked at, the buy-in was quite low for the potential to win a big pool of money. Like it's like playing your first fours or, as you said, like your quaddies. Where you like to generate that bit of value. And then I think for me, the biggest thing that drove me was I could outlay my $200 or my $300 if that's what I wanted to spend for the day.
Yeah.
And that's it. I didn't have to outlay it again. I could follow along. It's 12 legs, so there's plenty of action in it. And, I've been as guilty as anyone when I go to the pub or I'm having a pint with my mates, have a couple of beers when I might have a winner early and then, by the afternoon I was giving it all back or I lose my bank early and I have to reload and, you feel the hurt of that the next day. So I love the fact that I could just go, here's my 200 or my 300 or whatever I wanted to spend that day and make my picks. And then I didn't have to worry about reloading or any more outlays because I could follow my 12 races along and you're still alive until the very last race. So,
I think that's what I was saying to you about, like, quaddie, you can be out first leg. Multis, dead, where you are alive till the very end with the UPC.
Yeah, and again, the point system, like looking at the leaderboard. So if your horse wins, it pays $10 a win and $2 a place. You get your 12 points. It's simple to follow along.
Yeah.
You know how to do it, and the leaderboard's live all the time, so you can see exactly where you are on the table. And it's exciting. It's exciting, and knowing that you're alive until the very end.
Yeah.
It's good because again, you don't need to worry about putting any more money in. Once your picks are in, they're in, and you just follow along, and it's exciting. Like I got to the best I've got is I was leading with 2 legs to go, so I was in for a $50 spot for $25,000, and which is unbelievable.
When you see that 25,000 next to your name,
and your name at the top of the table, at the top of the ladder. It's funny because I've played footy and that's always a ladder, right? So maybe it's this thing with just a scoring system on a ladder. It makes sense to me, and it's a familiar sort of setting. But yes, and then literally when I looked at it, I went, "Oh yes, I'm on top here." The next race, $101 pop came in, and I was just smoked away. And like those guys who were not at the top of the table were probably nowhere, and they'd had that selection in their picks. They went straight to the top, and it's just, you just never know, and it's exciting, and you're always alive in it.
Always try and back end the value. Try and get There's one in there that might have a little bit of crack specialty.
It's good too because it sort of suits, like the old school punters where you'd get your form, you'd look at all your horses through the day, you'd circle your picks early in the morning, and then you'd put your bets on, and you don't have to look at it for the rest of the day. Like it suits that format if you want. If you want to go through every race and do your form and like your selections, you can do that when you make your own picks. Or if you just want to take a throw at the stumps, you can do the quick pick. Yeah. And the quick pick's nice and easy. Just hit that option.
It's done.
Yeah, it's done. And then sometimes there's more excitement in that because you see all of a sudden there's a couple 50-1.
Always horses you've never ever.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. I've probably had a little bit more success out of the quick picks than my own picks.
Yeah.
So just
that, isn't it?
There's a couple of those value runners that you just would never look at. And then normally you'd be sitting at the pub and going, who the heck is going to pick that 30-1 thing? Like, where's that come from? No form. There was never a chance of winning that race. Well, the quick pick found it for you, and all of a sudden you've got an extra 35 points on the table.
I think last week's winner, he did the form, did every selection for himself except for the last race. He had no idea, so he quick picked that leg and nabbed it at value, got over the line, won the 25 grand.
Well, again, that's where the app's pretty good, right? Because you can quick pick.
Oh, yeah, the app's great.
You can quick pick every race if you want and do the whole thing. Or, like you said, if there's horses you like throughout the day, you just pick them. And then when it comes to the races where you're not sure and you just want to sort of throw caution to the wind, you can just quick pick for that race. There's a lot of good options on there.
I think I've found with quick picks as well, if I take them earlier in the week, like say Thursday night, and then Friday I might get a little bit of mail, might hear a little whisper over here, or you actually have a look at some of the ones that are in your quick pick. The fact that you can go in and you can change them right up until the start of the showdown is fantastic.
Yeah, again, the app's probably one of the easy ones to use. Yeah. And I didn't actually understand all that I could do on the app. It took me a while to sort of get in there and play around with it. But then once you figure it out, there's so many options. Like you said, you can change your selections. If you're really confident, you can rebuy or you can let it slide. It's fantastic, easy to follow. And again, the biggest probably feature for me is the leaderboard. Like just checking the leaderboard, where you're sitting, your name comes up. Particularly, I've been at the top a couple of times to see your name at the top of the leaderboard, and couple of races ago. Do
you filter back down the list to see who else has the same horses as you?
Yeah,
that's my big thing. Is I sit there and go, "There's a bloke coming 14th. He's got the same in my second last league.
Yeah,
so if I'm
100%.
ahead, he's the one that's going to be coming for me."
100%. And again, like on the other side is if you're not quite at the top, and then you get a winner, you go up to see who's above you, who had your same pick, so you know, oh no, I'm catching him, I'm catching him. So there's plenty of like about it, and again, it's easy to follow. And it's an exciting format.
If you're, and this is kind of where it covers all bases, you can do the form, select horses, you can do a quick pick. But if you're opening up the form, you're not sure about this race, is there a jockey or a trainer that's you, like if you just have to throw it out the window and go, okay, I'm going to follow this person, who's kind of a jockey or trainer you follow?
Oh, you'd probably be bored again, but it's hard to go past J-Mac.
Oh, yeah.
Like
he's the best.
Like again, but you're not going to get much value. So you're probably most of the time with J-Mac, like he's on some pretty good horses. So you're not going to get the value that that you like, particularly in the UPC format. Yeah. Someone like Damien Lane, when he's down in Melbourne, you know he's always going to jag a couple of some horses at 15
good odds,
15-1, 20-1. Yeah, but again, I don't think I probably like to back myself for picking a horse in the race more than following a jockey. Although, how often do you see a jockey come out and have a day where he rides 4 or 5 of the winners and just go, mate, if I just followed him at the start and not myself, I would have probably.
It's weird how that works.
Yeah.
It just goes through little purple patches.
Well,
and
it's
sometimes
funny.
with the girls as well. I think if you follow like some of the female jockeys, and they always seem to have a bit of value behind them as well, and they go through patches where you'll see the girls will ride 3 or 4 winners that day, and you think, geez, if I just stuck to that.
Well, it's funny because if you look at it in like footy terms, sometimes you go out there and you have your preparation, or you might not have a good preparation, or you do, but sometimes you just get out there and you just, at the start of the day, something might happen. Then someone might drop the ball, it just bounces your way, you pick it up, you make half a break, instantly you go, I'm on today. I'm on today, and the confidence builds, and things that probably you wouldn't normally do, you might do just because of that little bit extra confidence. And I'd imagine it would be similar to the jockeys. If you get out there early and, you all of a sudden a gap that's not supposed to be there opens up and you slot through the gap and you find an early winner, well, you walk into the jockey's room and you go, well, I'm on today. So that confidence.
Confidence game.
Yeah, that
everywhere.
confidence can transfer into the later races.
And we similar age, similar area. It was hard. We used to go to the pub and have a punt with your mates, punters clubs, things like that. And it was so easy to just find yourself chasing a chuka or, you have a look at some of those players. Yeah, and you're like, that's late. Yeah. You go to
normally if I'm going to the pub with my mates, it ends up being a late one. So.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's did the responsible gambling side of this kind of draw you a little bit to UPC?
Yeah, 100%. That was a big part, particularly in a sense where, I want to come on and be a part of it and help promote it. Like the responsible part of it was massive for me. And again, like I said it earlier, that the fact that you can work out how much you want to outlay for the day that works for you, that fits within your budget and your level of punting, and you can go, okay, I can be involved for the whole day here at my $200 or my $100, whatever it is. I can pick 12 races, be live in those 12 races, follow along, and go into a prize pool, on some days worth up to $25,000.
Yeah.
Like it's massive. And again, I'm the same as everyone. I've been guilty of, having a few too many beers at the pub and either having an early winner and then going home with nothing because you get a bit too confident, or you start chasing some more wins, or like losing my bankroll early and having to reload and sort of stretch myself where I didn't want to stretch that day. So the responsible, the responsible gambling part of it was a massive factor in me, not just sort of coming on board and enjoying it on a personal level, but taking it to the next stage and be happy to endorse it and be a part of the UPC family. So, it's good fun. And again, even where it's got to the point now on the app where if it's a $50 ticket, you can actually cut it down. If you don't want to go the whole 50, you can have the option of just going for a $25 ticket where you get half the pool. So it fits all sort of shapes and sizes. And once you put your picks in, you're set for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, mate. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate your time, and mate, we'll see you on the UPC app.
Perfect, my pleasure, mate. Good to meet you, and can't wait to see some names out there on the leaderboard.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.